They've just gone final in Denver. Nuggets beat Dallas in overtime, 116-114. Kenneth Reed, 25 points and 20 rebounds. Onto the track, Cobalt 400 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. The checkered flag goes to Brad Keselowski.
I love it. It's awesome. The cars, you can be really fast minutes at the start of the run or really fast at the end of the run, and we had awesome speed at the end of every run.
Sound courtesy of Fox. Adam Scott wins for the second consecutive weekend in golf. He shot 3 under 69 in the final round at Trump Doral to win the World Golf Championship, as well as $1.6 million. Last week, he cashed in a check for just over $1 million by winning the Honda Classic. And finally on the ice, Battle of the Boroughs goes to the Islanders. New York Islanders beating the New York Rangers 6-4 at Madison Square Garden. I'm Sam Farber. This is NBC Sports Radio and the NBC Sports Radio mobile app.
From the KCAA Weather Center, I'm Frank Stratus. For this afternoon, you've got a 20% chance of showers, mostly sunny with a high of 62. Wind gusts as high as 25 miles per hour. Tonight, showers likely after 4 a.m., mostly cloudy with a low of 44. On Monday, showers and possibly a thunderstorm mainly before 4 p.m., then a chance of showers and thunderstorms after 4 p.m. Tonight, heavy rainfall. That's your weather forecast for this hour from the station that leaves no listener behind. NBC News Radio AM 1050 KCAA.
It's time for some delicious food at Pizza Dilly. Pizza Dilly Pizza in Colton, home of the famous 2-foot pizza with 32 slices of simply the best delicious Pizza Dilly mouth-watering pizza. Pizza Dilly has all kinds of lunch specials Monday through Friday, starting at $3.99. All delicious. So stop by, refresh, refuel, have a cold drink, and enjoy a tasty salad or our great specialty Delicious sub sandwich or our simply Dilly Lightful Pizza Dilly wings. Pizza Dilly is also People Dilly because your friends are all over there enjoying one of Pizza Dilly's giant screens, watching one of their favorite teams. And if you love the Dodgers, you will love Pizza Dilly, your hometown Dodger station all year round. So come on in, enjoy a great pizza, and enjoy Pizza Dilly, the real Dilly deal at 194 East Valley Boulevard in Colton, or call 909-370-0242. 909-370-0242.
Yo, what's up? Where's my old school hip-hop and freestyle party peoples at? It's going down Saturday, May 7th. The High Deserts Freestyle and Old School Music Festival at the San Bernardino County Fairgrounds in the city of Victorville. That's right, performances by Vanilla Ice doing his classic Ice Ice Baby, Mr. Baby God's Back, Sir Mix-a-Lot, and freestyle legends Stevie B, Lisa, Taylor Dane, Expose, Trinier, Debbie Deb, Shannon, and Connie, all being hosted by DJ Sergio X. Plus, you got the hottest DJs mixing the best in 80s and 90s throwbacks. This is an indoor-outdoor event and all ages are welcome. I know you want to get your tickets, right? Well, hit up www.lcshevents.com or call 760-514-1845. This is all going down once again at the San Bernardino County Fairgrounds in the city of Victorville, Saturday, May 7th, the High Deserts Freestyle and Old School Music Festival. Now that's what's up.
Inland Empire, RJS Action Shots, your one-stop shop for professional photography. Studio, live events, family, corporate, and church functions. RJS has been in business for over 20 years, bringing the Inland Empire and the greater Los Angeles area quality photos with friendly customer service. We are your one-stop shop for all your photography needs. RJS specializes in team sports and action digital photography. So call now and speak to one of our friendly staff members. RJS Action Shots, 909-264-0489. Your leader in quality prints. That's 909-264-0489. Call us today. Brought to you by Danny Alcaraz Productions.
Walk with me.
This is Danny Alcaraz. Today we have a variety of shows. Tune in on the Alcaraz Angel Baby Sunday block. CNBC Radio 1050 AM and 106.5 FM. Every Sunday, 4 to 9. Tune in. You never know who's coming on. KCAA Radio.
KCAA.
My dog, yes. This first one. Ready to go? Right
Yes.
now? Yeah, okay. Hi, this is Nancy Gutierrez at Kcaa, 1050 AM and 106.5 FM with the Danny Alcarez and Angel Baby Block. And you're listening to Inside Politics. Today we are continuing this month interviewing the San Bernardino City Unified School District board members. Today we have Abigail Medina. Welcome, Abigail.
Hi, welcome. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be amongst friends and part of the community here in San Bernardino.
Wonderful. Well, we're excited to have you here. We have so many questions to ask you. But before we ask them, I wanted to have you tell us a little bit about you, how long you've lived here, and so forth.
Okay. Thank you. Well, I'm part of the community here in San Bernardino. I moved here about 19 years ago.
Wow.
With my husband and I.
You look like you're about 19. So,
you're so sweet. How much do I owe you? $5. Actually,
no, you really do look 19.
And I have, we've been married for over 22 years, and my husband and I, we moved to San Bernardino to have our home, and we love the community. It's very warm and inviting, and so I have 5 children. 2 are actually at college right now, 2 in middle school, 2 in high school, and 1 in middle school. And the amazing part of it is that they've gone through the same schools, know the same kids, and that's something that I never really had part of growing up.
I didn't either.
Yes.
That's stability.
Yes, it's a stability piece, and that's what many of our families
I moved
here.
so many times, forget it.
I went
every year.
Really?
Well, not every year, but every 5 years we were moving.
Yeah. Well, I went through 14 different schools, and in that 14 schools, it was all over Southern California. I was in Watts. I went all the way up to Barstow, one of the middle schools up in Barstow. So there was many schools. And so you see some of the needs here in San Bernardino, and when I got involved in the education, started doing PTA, school site council. We were doing a lot of different things there, fundraisers. Then got recruited by a nonprofit organization, and we started looking at closing the achievement gap among students of color, especially looking at low-income families, in San Bernardino.
Absolutely. So that's how you started everything.
Yeah, that's how we started
in
getting involved.
PTA.
Yes, and then of course, now that I'm a school board member, one of my top priorities is to look at higher education and trying to have access to high school and after high school graduation, college access.
And you've been in the school board as what was the year you became a school board?
2013.
And I should remember that, right?
Yes, you
were there.
I have to ask. So that I need to go back to school. I don't count properly.
I have to ask so everybody that's watching and listening in can know.
Right. But I did community organizing before then. So I know that in this short amount of time, we've been able to do so many great things in the district.
You have. It's amazing. When we had the other guests here, we would, they were telling us, and I just was so amazed and impressed with your passion, all of the school board members' passion for the children in this community.
And if you notice, we all have a different niche and expertise in certain areas.
And I think that's what makes you guys a great team, though.
Right,
because you guys are not only focusing one thing, but at the same time, you guys are putting all of those great ideas together.
Right.
And working together. You guys
incorporating
all work really well.
Yes, exactly.
Right. And I think that's one thing that I love about our board is that we're able to work with each other. And sometimes we don't agree on all topics, but that's okay because we actually do it respectfully. We understand. We try to help understand each other, and it's really nice.
And that helps you to grow, don't you think? When you,
it does.
You know, when you don't have the same viewpoint as somebody else, and you talk with them and you work with them, it kind of helps you to evolve as a person.
Right. And then you know what areas
what they're feeling and how why maybe your idea isn't the best, because sometimes our ideas aren't the best,
or the timing piece of it. Maybe in this time moment,
we go through that.
Yeah, we do.
We're a team, so I think we all go through that. But we are a team, and I think that when we collaborate and incorporate those ideas, then we accomplish something. And I think that's what we're looking at right now at the school board. The whole board incomplete. I mean, the whole board is just amazing. Everyone that we have had on the show have impressed me completely. Not that I don't know already what you guys are doing, because I know you guys are doing an amazing job throughout the district. So congratulations, and thank you so much for you guys doing such an amazing job.
Thank you. Well,
I'm being so dedicated to it, to our kids.
And it's the community San Bernardino. We actually have in one of our zip codes someone was telling me from an organization is that we have one of the poorest zip codes in the nation, actually, in San Bernardino.
Yes. I've read that.
And not only that, so if you look at how can we grow the economy in San Bernardino, the best way is education.
It sure is. It's educating the children and the people going up, coming up.
Right. And you look at that, and you look at neighborhoods, and you look at when you go to buy a home, the first thing you're going to look at was what the rating of the school site is.
Absolutely.
And if that's it's something that you're willing to invest in. And that's what we need to do. And so if we, at least in our part, and as a school board member and what we're doing in the district, our part is try to create those in growing the economy is by creating those good schools. And that's one thing that we've been trying to push for is create.
Making our kids successful, right?
Yes, so create the successful, bringing them back into the community. We have, and I imagine when you bring other board members, they can talk a little bit more about it. We actually have different career pathways, probably even board member Mike Gallo mentioned it. We have different career pathways in high school.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is education as a teacher's track. And so you go to Cal State San Bernardino, you have that pathway. You come back and we automatically hire you. So those are great avenues.
Yes, that's great.
Isn't it, where you go to Cal State San Bernardino or other college close by and you come back to our district? That means we appreciate that you're coming back. You could go anywhere else, but you're coming back to our city. And then you become a teacher and you know our kids. It's not like we have to convince you, this is the issues and some of the concerns, how can we improve, and you understand.
Good.
And so now you're coming back and teaching for our kids.
I think that's great. And it also motivates kids, that are out there maybe listening today and they want to be teachers.
Right.
Hey,
to come out and do it. And
go out and do it. And then you'll have the
opportunity
to actually work in the school district and give back to your schools. Because I know a lot of the kids these days like to stay at school.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know that, Abigail, you're big on higher education, and when we come back from this break, we will go ahead and talk about that.
Thank you.
We'll be back.
I can hear the angels ringing their chimes of a bell. As the time goes by, a world of paradise. We had time, you and I, to smile, laugh, and cry. So wipe away your tears and remember the happy years. Forever and forever, I live inside your dreams. My heart, my love will be together, just you and me. The morning, a sunrise, every evening a sunset. I was put a word that's true. And at this moment, I'm with you. The first spring of romance, a summer we play and dance, to fall in love one night, then a warm winter every night. Forever and forever, I live inside your dreams. My heart, my love will be together, just you and me. Forever and forever, I live inside your dreams. My heart, my love will be together, just you and me. I can hear the angels ringing their chimes of bells. I can hear the angels ringing their chimes of bells. Through the mountain skies, on the top of the river high, down to an ocean blue, I'll always be with you. Forever and forever, I live inside your dreams. My heart, my love will be together, just you and me. Forever and forever, I live inside your dreams. Heart, my love will be together, just.
So we're back here at KCAA, 1050 a.m. And to all our listeners, please listen in at www.kcaaradio.com. You can call in if you have any questions for Abigail today, 1-888-909-1050. And we're back, and this is Carla Quebec.
And this is Nancy Gutierrez, and we're here with Abigail Medina, school board member. She's telling us a little bit about what's going on in the school board.
Yes, and I definitely want to talk about the higher education piece, because one of the great things is that with Mike Gallo on board, he's creating, his passion has always been career pathways, and we kind of meshed it with the college access and, college and career. And I'm bringing the perspective of, you want to make sure that we educate all of our students and preparing them for that college access. And regardless if they end up attending or not, and I know when my children were growing up and I wanted to make sure, first of all my children were going to go to college.
Yes, that's
and
very
I remember
important to mothers, isn't it?
It is. And when I heard the superintendent, so we have a wonderful superintendent, Dale Marsden,
yes,
and he actually said it. You know what? If the saying for the rich districts or the rich communities or the rich where the students attend, the higher incomes, if their priority is to make sure all of their kids are ready to go to college, and then why not our community?
Why aren't we focused?
Absolutely, I like that. That's
why aren't we pushing it?
Yes, of course.
Now, do I understand that not all kids are going to be able to have that? But the thing is that
we have the opportunity. If they
yes, and that's all. That's all it is. You want to provide opportunities and when, like for instance, I'm so passionate on that piece because back when I mentioned to you earlier that I went to 14 different schools,
right?
And at one point, not many know, but I guess it'll be on the radio, I was actually in a foster home as well for a short amount of time. And one thing that I've realized is that my parents wanted us to go to college.
Okay.
And I thought, you know what, I'm going to go to college. It was this big thing. But, traveling so many different school sites, I never connected with a counselor.
Absolutely.
I never connected with a counselor.
It's
and actually,
hard,
when I would see the students that were like high point, they were the
and it was hard because you always had to start from nowhere. Like once you had a new school, right? You had to start the whole new year again.
Exactly.
Like, make friends again. And where do we start from now?
You're right. And that's something that was, hard in itself. But for me, when I would see kids go to the counselor, I thought counselors. So for me, it was counselors I thought were just for the emotional, psychological help.
So did I. And that's so funny that you'd say that. I did too in high school. I didn't know that they were there to help us pick classes to go to college.
And then help you with the classes. And so I took auto mechanics, and not that it's bad. Actually, it was a good class. I learned so much.
Your own car.
But it was given to me as a leftover class. people and I wanted to be an art major. I wanted to do some other stuff, and what I didn't realize is that counselors help students to guide them into the right direction. And I remember receiving 11th grade, one of those the requirements, which was back then to enter college, and I'm thinking, wait, I'm not taking all of these classes that's necessary, and it was frustrating to me because that means I was already out of the loop in 11th grade, and it didn't dawn on me until I had my own children. And they were getting into
kids
college.
Need help. They need more guidance.
Exactly. And then not only that, did what the A through G's were. So that's when I first learned about the A through G's. The A through G's, and my children were still in elementary, and I was like, "What is this?" These are the CSU and the UC system requirements. These are the college access requirements, and that are the basic minimum, and that's 4 years of English, 3 years of math, and so forth, sciences, and you were thinking, well, I want to make sure my kids do that and take that. And there's actually this AVID poster that I received during my I would go to the parent sessions. That's why I think parent engagement is such an important
It is. Parent engagement is 90% of it, honestly, because the parents need to understand.
Right. And then a lot of parents, either from their own upbringings, don't understand how can they help their kids become successful.
Well, some of the parents don't know that information either, so they just send the kids to school and they don't.
And it's not a blaming
game. They just depend
on
the teacher or the counselor or the staff that's in the school to kind of guide the student. Right.
And one of the things is that that's why I think parent engagement is such an important factor in trying to create that college access readiness and getting the A through G classes. Is that way, if the parents know what the A through G's are and they're expecting it, and they're going to make sure that their kids
they'll guide their kids. That's so true.
Right. And so the other piece is when I became a school board member, because of my own upbringing, and then my children struggling to make sure that they're taking the A through G's, is when I became a school board member, I wanted to make sure, how can we align this with the high school graduation requirements? And how far are we from, do we have to add a lot of classes? Is it just a few classes? Is this something that we can look at where you create an A through G as a default system within the school district?
So these kids are all going to be prepared in this school district.
Every single one.
That's amazing. And they'll have the opportunity.
Right.
Whether they take it or not.
Exactly. And that's the whole point.
That's
and
amazing.
One thing that we've, once I became the school board member, we created a committee. It's called the A through G as a default committee. And we brought in teachers, counselors, students, parents, administrators, anybody that's involved within the looking at what school can we do in the district, how can we improve this, even community leaders that might have some input on this. And they've worked it's almost been 2 years of me been working on this to make sure that it's something that's valid. And what we ended up finding out is that we're actually only one class away. All we need is to switch up with because for the A through G's you have to have language.
Okay.
And that's where we would have to look at including an extra language. And other than that, it would be basically ready for the A through G's.
Well, congratulations!
And I know I'm so excited on this because this is something that you have to look at as an opportunity for all kids. Now, like I mentioned earlier, not all children are going to go to college, but they have already the setback with with career pathways. We have 3D manufacturing. We have the construction field. We have the nursing field.
Which is what Mr. Gallo was sharing with us.
Yes. But at the same time, we know that if they do decide to go to college
they'll be ready.
They'll be ready.
Oh, yeah.
They'll be ready. No questions asked.
Exactly.
And now with this committee plan that we've been doing, that we've been working on, is to make sure, because a lot of kids are going to struggle. It's going to be something that taking
a little bit harder.
It will be,
but they'll be grateful because when you graduate, sometimes you're not ready for college. But then comes a year, and you're like, wait a minute, I wanted to go. What was I thinking?
Exactly.
And now they'll be able to.
Right. And then you also want to create a system where it's, if you see them struggle, then you have something to catch them, and they can catch up.
The career.
Right.
That's where the career would come in. Excellent.
But for what I'm talking about more is when they're falling behind on their grades, or if they're falling behind
credits
in their credits, we want to make sure that they're still meeting the high school graduation. And so we have programs like APEX, that's a recovery system with A through G classes approved, and the kids can take this through the 0 period or 8th period. So we can look at making sure that...
I think that you guys also crerated like a Saturday class, right?
We do. We're trying to look at different alternatives.
You guys had a summer class last last year. What was it? San
It was at San Gregorio High School.
Oh, okay,
these were all the high schools in the district, and they were taking summer school, and we were making sure that they
even graduated in summer, right?
Yes, and they all there were over 200 students that if we didn't offer that program, they
wouldn't have graduated
high school.
They would have waited until the next year.
And we were able to do that as a priority.
So that's amazing.
It is. I'm excited about that because my nephew, he was the first in the family to graduate high school.
Oh my goodness.
And I was excited. I was so excited for him because my family on my dad's side, you always have, there's struggles of, there's not many that have graduated high school. And then just to have him as the first of my cousins, and they were, you could see them bawling, and the rest of the families were there.
Just was crying.
Just saying the same thing because.
Was he at the summer school?
Yes, he was.
Because my daughter was there too. And I remember that she struggled so much. She was not going to graduate for 10 credits that she was behind. So with the opportunity of the summer school that was offered in that high school, that's how she was able to graduate.
Oh, that's
and nowadays,
and she was crying. She was like, I'm not going to graduate for 10 credits. I can't believe it. So with this opportunity that the teacher told her, and she, signed up and everything and did the summer school, she was able to graduate. So
and that's important because at the end of the day, they're going to come back to our communities and they need work. And if they don't have a high school diploma, it's so much harder. It's so much harder for them.
Exactly.
And I'm so proud that your daughter was able to do
going back or saying, I think the kids go through something, right? And then they realize, wait, if they didn't graduate, I've seen a lot of kids that say, wait, I should have graduated, or I regret not having my high school, and now it's harder to go back and get it. Absolutely. Even going to adult school and getting the GED or anything else. So they just get frustrated. Right. And so in order for them to even go to college, it takes them harder. It makes it harder for them because they're like, well, I'm not even graduated. I don't even have a high school diploma. Right. Well, you could go get your GED. Yeah, but, and it's just an obstacle for them. Yep. When they could have just had it done, when they were
I'm so glad
in
the school district has
so
really taken the
it makes it
the
so much
right.
easier for
possible.
Them. Yeah.
You don't think about that, but as, educators, you guys play such a big role in children's lives, and to see you guys being so proactive.
We have to be, and that's for the city of San Bernardino, and we do cover some of Highland as well, and Muscoy. But you want to address these issues, and like I said, if you're going to grow the community to be a prosperous area, San Bernardino of all places,
and want to keep the kids here,
we have to make sure that they're graduating high school, and then looking at those higher opportunities, and adult school, like you mentioned earlier, is a great way. In our district, we also have an adult school that offers a GED program. So they also offer the high school. So there's two different tracks within the adult school system.
Oh, good.
And if they want to have the high school diploma, they can still access it. So there's never that if they weren't able to do it during the summer school, because sometimes there's many students who are way behind, and either they've missed a lot of school or if they've gone from district to district or school site to school site. We have to make sure that they have those opportunities and they don't miss out.
Well, because I know also when they're behind credits, they've taken them out of the high school and put them in a continuation so they can catch up to credits quicker. Right. Is that correct?
Right. It is, and we have, even within our continuation schools, it's really, there's this long waiting list, unfortunately, because there are some kids that are struggling, and we need to make sure that we recuperate it. And I think that's why in the school sites we are offering the Apex and other programs to make sure that they can, in the meantime, start recuperating those classes they failed.
Now, do you think by having these parent education classes when they're younger, maybe we're going to help alleviate some of this when these kids get older?
Yes.
Because I think maybe that's going to help that.
It definitely helps with attendance, because when we're creating incentives, because we know that if the kids are in classroom,
they're going to learn
they're going to be learning. Right, they're going to be learning.
Right. And so when we come back, we're going to have Abigail share with us some information in regards to AVIT. She's going to share what that's about, and that will be after our break. Thank you. Stay tuned.
You're listening to KCAA Loma Linda at 106.5 FM, K293CF Moreno Valley.
Yo, what's up? Where's my old school hip hop and freestyle party peoples at? It's going down Saturday, May 7th. The High Deserts Freestyle and Old School Music Festival at the San Bernardino County Fairgrounds in the city of Victorville. That's right, performances by Vanilla Ice doing his classic Ice Ice Baby, Mr. Baby God's Back, Sir Mix-a-Lot, and freestyle legends Stevie B, Lisa, Taylor Dane, Expose, Trinier, Debbie Deb, Shannon, and Connie, all being hosted by DJ Sergio X. Plus, you got the hottest DJs mixing the best in 80s and 90s throwbacks. This is an indoor-outdoor event and all ages are welcome. I know you want to get your tickets, right? Well, hit up www.lcshevents.com or call 760-514-1845. This is all going down once again at the San Bernardino County Fairgrounds in the city of Victorville, Saturday, May 7th, the High Deserts Freestyle and Old School Music Festival. Now that's what's up.
You're listening to KCAA Loma Linda at 106.5 FM, K293CF Marina.
KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM are San Bernardino strong.
San Bernardino strong. Yes, we are.
I love that.
Whoop, whoop. Okay, so we're back and we wanted to talk about AVID. Tell us what does that mean?
First of all, AVID, I learned this also when my children were still young, and I'm making sure all my kids attend AVID. It's called, the acronym is for Advancement Via Individual Determination, and it's a global nonprofit organization dedicated to closing the achievement gap by preparing all, and this is highlight the word, all students for college and post-secondary education. And so we want to look at AVID. When my children went into middle school, they didn't have AVID there, but we do in our district have many middle schools that do have AVID.
Okay.
By the time they got into high school, I seen the value of AVID because they're learning how to take Cornell notes. First of all, they're organizing their folders. If they didn't have any structure beforehand, and a lot of our children here in the district, come from homes that are not necessarily the best ideal location, and to learn these great habits, and they teach them how to write notes, how to study. They keep their folders organized and how to easily access many of the...
that's priceless information.
Yes.
Honestly, it really is.
Yes.
We just assume that everybody knows how to do that, but they don't.
You would think so. I remember my daughter telling me, Mom, but, because she struggled in high school, my oldest, and she was telling me, I don't know how to study. And you would think that, as they grow, they have these great techniques, and they don't grow up. When I didn't have, I was
going to say that. I didn't have it either.
So
with us teaching that to our kids now, right? Then they come and then that's carried to the next generation, right? Because they will see that their kids need that.
So
that's what we're doing.
And it's a class where the kids attend one period a day. And in that class, they also help them with the college application. So the colleges that they end up applying, they do that there. They do FAFSA. A lot of families will tell me, Abigail, my daughter didn't attend the classroom, and yet she was great. She has great grades, and because a lot of parents decide, my children, I want them to get an extra class, so they don't get AVID.
Oh, really? See, and they probably don't understand what AVID is, do they?
Well, some parents do. So, for instance, parents who have their kids in college, who already went to college, classes. And so they have this idea that they're going to take these extra classes so that way they can be more competitive in college. But what they don't realize is that in the classroom they also help them with college applications, the FAFSA, which is a federal grants that they receive for paying for college, and that is time consuming, and there's a lot of hard questions, and they have this one period to deal to help with that, and you're working with other students. And
see, my daughter just graduated like about 12 years ago, and she didn't have that. She had to do that all herself.
And so when I found out the how important this class was for my children and many other children in the district, I said, what, why do we wait until high school? And why do we wait until middle school? Why can't we start off early in elementary school so that way they have these early study habits and how to write notes, and it might be a simple form. It doesn't have to be like, yes, they have to write this whole page, but the kids can start thinking about careers when they're young. Why do they have to wait until high school? And I'm so excited to say this, that because I've been pushing to try to create an AVID in elementary school, and no other districts in the Inland Empire close to here, other than Riverside, is offering AVID in elementary. And so we have, since our push, have several AVID elementary schools.
That's good. I'm telling you, this is the district to live in right now. This really is.
It is. And I'm excited to hear that many schools, there are several schools in the district that have started AVID-like or AVID classes in elementary, and they're pushing for more. We're pushing for more schools to come because this is an important asset. You want to get them prepared early on.
So we do have them in middle schools, and we do have them in high schools.
We do have them in high schools and middle schools. But then again, in Richardson does not have it. But then, Richardson has its own bonuses.
Special things, yes.
Right. Other things that they're doing great in. And actually, Richardson Prep Middle School is one of the top schools in this region. And so it's very competitive with many other school districts that are in affluent areas. So I'm very proud of the schools we have there. Rodriguez is another great one. Rodriguez Prep Academy. We have Cesar Chavez Middle School.
Yes, that's a wonderful middle school.
It's a great school. We have we have Serrano that just received their award. We have so many great schools that is just multiplying and expanding. Now, do we have a lot of things that we have to work on? Yes. But what the good thing is that we're moving along and we're making sure that we're addressing some of these issues because, they
haven't been addressed before, obviously.
Right. And we want to make sure that we're addressing this. And AVID is a great way to have access to college. Now, we do need to invest more. When we had the LCFF is the local control funding formula. And in the state, they sent us extra money through the LCFF. And at our last, or I think it was when we approved it last year, I made sure that we allocated some extra funding for AVID because we wanted to make sure in order to expand it, you need the resources.
Absolutely.
And so we needed to make sure we allocated
is that for
funding.
all the kids in the school district? Like in the middle, when they're in the middle, or if it's offered on any of the middle school, high school? It is not, and that's one thing that I need to make sure.
We need to get it really...
Because that's where the funding, and I made sure we allocated extra funding for it, at least to help expand it.
Yeah.
Right. But you're right, and that's one thing that is frustrating
really needs
because
to be in all the schools.
It needs to be for all students, but the problem is that means it needs more money, and we need to make sure that if we're allocating it...
So who can participate on AVID?
AVID, any student that's willing to basically any student that's willing to work to make sure that their college, then that's their idea, going to college and going to post-secondary education. So it can be any of those students that are willing to do that. But even if they're not,
they have to want to sign up. They have to.
Yes, but at the same time, I think it should be open to any student that maybe might necessarily not want to go to college.
Right.
But this might be a way for them to interact with
organized and get interested in
meeting other students who have that idea of going to college, or even a different career pathway that has to do with a trade and so forth. So that they when you're with other students, you tend to want to be you're going to motivate.
You're going to be more motivated. You are. It's true. It's even with people when where you're with people that are interesting, or gives you energy. And I don't know what the whole energy exchange thing is, but I know it exists.
It's true.
It does.
It's true. It's true, and it helps out. And that's one of the things that when we're looking at college and career access and readiness, AVID is definitely a crucial piece. And how do we make sure that more kids are accessing it? That's a question that we need to, have more discussions on, and making sure it's access to all. All students have access.
Yeah, see, I agree with that. I really think that you need to have all students should have access.
And I know
to
my son who is now in college, he struggled in school.
Well, boys do. They're the ones that really need it. They do not take good notes and that type of stuff most of the time.
And this was before
against you.
They're all over the world except that.
Yeah, I'm nothing against you guys, but your thought process is a little bit different.
Yeah, but in that case with
they're wherever they're not supposed to be.
Okay, I can't say that too much, but it's in the sense for my son. He actually was not gonna. I applied for the AVID. He was the one that didn't
want to sign up.
No, that the school site, because they have limited access is that he wasn't going to be able to get into it. And because my daughter was already in it, I seen the value of it because his grades, there's some students that do struggle, and we have those in our district. But because I fought and I said, no, he's going to go to college, and he's going to have the opportunities to go to college. And I know the importance of AVID, and I advocated it at the school side. This was before I was a school board member, so I wasn't having no privileges or anything. And so this was before, and
you just knew about the program and knew it worked.
And
so you thought, I want my kids to be able to have this opportunity.
And so I did, and as a parent, that's why the importance of parent engagement, because now you want to make sure your kids are in it. My son was placed in it, thankfully, because like I said, there's grade point averages was not as high in order to enter the AVID program. But that's why for me, I think it's important, because you want to open access. If you have a 1.5, it's okay. You get to learn so many techniques that you should be in part of those classes.
Maybe your grades will go up.
Yes.
If you had AVID. Do
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? I mean, because part of it is the study skills. Part of it is the note taking.
Right.
And those things that they would be learning from AVID. So I'm hoping that parents that are listening right now.
It's an important program, and you should definitely push for your child. Now, there's another program that's called GATE, and I'll touch that a little bit later, more about what GATE means. But so there's some students that have to choose between either the GATE Magnet program or AVID. And I think that even within that, we should be able to incorporate both.
And with that, is AVID geared towards any particular group? If they have a single mom, or if they're a first-generation college,
you're right. And if they're first-generation college, that they definitely should be in these classes, single parents.
Is it geared towards them, or is it just offered to anyone?
Well, it's offered to anyone, but its advantages for those who would be first-time college students.
Okay.
But at the same time, any students can benefit from it, because then it's also time to work on homework assignments that maybe other kids are doing tutoring. Currently, my daughter's helping out with tutoring in the AVID program, and she's in college right now, but she's helping other students who are struggling and helping them have that higher access to
education.
To the education piece. And it's good because they come back and they are able to see how they can help out and be part of that circling. How we mentioned, they just don't leave San Bernardino. They come back to San Bernardino and help out any ways they can.
And make this a prosperous community instead of leaving and running, trying to get as far away as they can.
Right. And we need individuals to come back.
And we need good individuals.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Well, we'll come back after this break. And I don't know where Joe is at, my break guy, the one who puts the commercial, Joe, calling Joe. But anyways, we'll be back and we will talk. I know you want to talk about GATE, so we can definitely touch into that. And we have a special guest also announcing an event that's actually coming up. So we'll come back after the break. Thank you.
My daughter was in GATE. Actually, both of my children were. So you need to tell the people about it. They need to understand what it is.
Okay.
It's dead air?
Yeah, dead air.
Oh, great.
The first time that I saw you, oh, you looked so fine. Well, I tried to get your name, but you just looked aside.
La segunda vez que te vi, yo traté de hablarte, pero solamente tú te vas sin darme una oportunidad. Let's pretend we were lovers. Let's pretend
time that I saw you, you gave me a little glance, but you acted like you wanted to talk, but you ran away instead.
La cuarta vez que te vi era mi última oportunidad de detenerte para que escucharas a mi corazón hablar.
Let's pretend. Oh yeah, baby. You keep talking to me, or that sexy speech turns me on.
And this is Carla Quebec, and we're back here at KCAA Inside Politics.
Yes, we are with Abigail Medina.
And Nancy Gutierrez and Abigail Medina. And
we have brought a new person on.
Mr.
Danny Marquez. Would you like to say a little something real quick?
Sure, I'm a veteran. I'm here to go ahead and speak a little bit later about a Veterans Health and Wellness Fair coming up in Fontana on March the 19th. Pleasure to be here.
And we'll go ahead and talk about that in a little bit.
And we need those programs for our veterans, because I used to work as a medical eligibility analyst at Riverside Regional Medical Center, and we did applications for veterans, victims of crime, and that's when I learned so many issues within a lot of patients don't even receive certain benefits. Oh, yeah. And that's after they've dedicated, they've had injuries. There's Agent Orange. Really important. And so anyways, just that piece, it's a great thing that you're doing to try to get those. Yeah. That's wonderful.
Well, we owe our lives to you. So right here and now, we're going to thank you very much for fighting for our country.
Yes,
because
definitely.
the veterans, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here.
Yes, most definitely. So, Abigail, I wanted to you to share a little bit about the gate, but also if you can tell us. I know I was on the break, we were talking about how kids can go to junior college, right? Even if they don't.
With the AVID program, they also help. When I mentioned post-secondary, that's with trade schools. They look at community colleges, so it's not necessarily just a 4-year university. They look at different post-secondary options, and that's, like I said, community college. Many of our students who are in AVID do attend Valley College or Crafton Hills College, and other, maybe even Chaffey down more to the west. But there's many ways for them to get involved. It's not just a 4-year university piece, and so it's a program that's valuable, and it's global program actually. So it's not just here in California. It's
nationwide.
Yes, nationwide, definitely, and so it's just need more funding that piece. But I do want to mention regarding the opportunities for all, and there's this. I have the not-for-profit organization that's called Kcaa, which is Talented and Gifted in the Inland Empire.
Oh, awesome.
And what I've done is that I've gone to different school districts and I've talked about GATE students, which is Gifted and Talented Education. And what that means is that there's these kids that are identified that have these high ability and think outside the box, creative thinkers. Sometimes people think, well, that's a great thing, and it is a great thing, but they're the kids that also overthink and they can't sleep and they're highly sensitive. So
yes, they are. I have one of those.
Yeah. And so the higher the abilities, it's the higher everything, and that's what people don't understand is that they'll seem a little awkward sometimes, depending, because there's gifted kids that are gifted. They're not necessarily gifted in all areas. That's another misconception. That's true. That if they're identified GATE is because they're gifted in all areas, and not necessarily so. They could be struggling in English and be outstanding and like top of the charts of math. Right. They could be great communicators and have that talent in communications, but when it comes to
science, maybe they don't have that
and
talent.
So there's different areas of giftedness, and so I got involved because my children were identified GATE, and what I've realized is that one was up for retention. People don't understand that there's
not enough stimulation going on in the classroom. No, they're the ones that are in the back causing the trouble, which is true. That's exactly
and
correct.
There's actually a high percentage of GATE students that are dropping out, and I didn't know this until I trying to find out how can I help my kids. Why are they up for retention if they're labeled GATE, and why is it inconsistencies, 100s, 50s, and Fs and As and A's?
They're not working towards.
They're not, and all they're receiving is more repetition and more redundant work, and they're not. Yes, and they're like, well, why am I going to do this again? And they'll just answer whatever they want. Then they get the F.
Yep.
And so I mean, I completely understand. But the problem is that there's a lot of school district. Luckily, in our district, we have the Gate Magnet program. But what I was finding out is that many school districts do not.
Yeah, they don't.
And they do not fund it. And not only that, they don't do testing for all students. That's a big issue because in our district, when I found out that they test all students, it's great because there's going to be those kids that teachers don't
in trouble in the back.
They're
of the room.
getting in trouble.
There's going to be, yeah.
They're
really
the
belong
ones
in it.
that the teachers might not necessarily see as maybe gifted. And what it also leaves out is English learners. It leaves out minority students who might not be perceived as being gifted. And so when you do a blanket test and you test all kids, your teachers are surprised. And some of these
They're
kids
like,
that they
oh,
end
wait.
up, oh my God, look at this one.
I
And
know,
he
I
was a
think it's
behavior
awesome, huh?
and he was a behavior child, or she was
Yeah.
the one not
talked
paying
all the time.
attention. Yes, because they have extra time to socialize.
Exactly.
But there's an article that's called, or research that was called, the silent epidemic, and nobody talks about, and I think it's either parents who become afraid and either embarrassed of saying my child is dropping out of high school. I had this one parent tell me, Abigail, but my daughter she's no longer gate. She was gate in elementary, but she's no longer gate. And I go, but it's not something that just goes away.
It's not.
It's not something that goes away. And I told her, well, why would you say this? Well, she's dropping out of high school. She's struggling. She's getting Fs. So, and people it's not with grades.
Your IQ doesn't. It
doesn't.
Your IQ is your IQ.
No, and what happens is that by the time they get into high school, if they haven't had any rigorous programs, that's when I told you. Remember, I told you how my daughter says, "Mom, but I don't know how to study," because they've never really been challenged.
Yep.
So when they're finally meeting an area where they're being challenged and don't know how do I react? How do you adapt to it?
They get frustrated.
And
it becomes a frustration for them.
Right.
They don't handle it.
And so that's something that I'm very proud of within our own district, is that we do have blanket testing, and we're continuing to. So GATE programs and GATE testing, when the Common Core came out, I'm part of the California Association for Gifted. I'm a board member for that organization that's statewide, and you meet with different teachers. When the Common Core came out, it wasn't necessarily a bad thing. The testing is a separate issue. The SBAC is definitely a different issue.
Right.
But people were there was like, oh no, the Common Core is bad, and teachers were telling me, Abigail, we've been teaching this way for over 50 years through the GATE certification program.
Right.
And so I thought, well, okay, we have experts that have taught Common Core. How can we expand this for all kids? And so what I did when I became a school board member is I told the district, we have to give all our teachers the GATE certification program, so that way they can learn the Common Core trends. Right. And how they can help all kids succeed. It doesn't have to necessarily be GATE students. They can be children who are special ed and want to find, and that's another issue, is that special ed students are also capable of doing so much more. And all they need is the opportunity to succeed and go to college.
The patience to be shown what they need to do to succeed.
Right. And that's through resource, and that's through programs. Absolutely. And we have to make sure a lot of them are capable of going to higher education too. Right. A lot of them they can go to college as well. And so how do we provide them those opportunities? And I think that's where we were looking at the training for all teachers in GATE certification, and providing access to ensure that all kids, regardless of what community or their struggles, they have that opportunity to higher education. So that's something that I'm pushing for, and I'm very proud of, and I'm so excited, as you can see. And like I said,
so
earlier,
much information, right? It's like, oh my God, we need like a couple of shows for that.
I know. And then even with that, I'm excited because my daughter and my son, they went to college, and they were the first generation from my family.
Congratulations! That's amazing.
That's wonderful.
And it's never too late for myself. I've tried and I've gone, but with so many things going on,
you just don't have the time.
It's just so difficult as once you're a working mom and you're doing. That's not an excuse, because I've seen working moms do it, but
they usually have 5 children though.
Yeah, well, 5 children, and then you're right.
That takes a lot of energy, and then you're on the school board. So you have a little bit.
I'm doing great things. Well, we're doing great things. I'm excited in our district.
You guys are doing great.
You are, and
I'm excited.
Thank you so much, Abigail. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on. And now we'd like to welcome our other guest, Danny Marquez, and we'd like him to tell us a little bit about the event that's coming up.
Sure. If you don't mind, I'm going to just say a little bit about myself and about the organization that I represent.
Yeah, we won't even talk.
Yeah.
So
basically, my name is Danny Marquez. I recently retired from the Postal Service after serving in the military. I had 35 years in the Postal Service as a letter carrier, 20 years as a shop steward. But the post office has offered a lot of opportunities for veterans to go ahead and get hired. So they're the second largest hire of veterans, and there's a lack of jobs right now, I think, for more veterans coming out, and so that's one of the areas that we want to focus on too. So employment, housing, opportunities, and I know you spoke before about eligibility and different things that you faced when you were in the hospital, and but just access to benefits and opportunities, and getting the public to know. That kind of leads into the Health and Wellness Resource Fair, because a lot of times when we first, our organization is called Veterans Partner with Communities. We opened our brick and mortar with the help of the city of Fontana as a partnership program in Veterans Day of 2012. So in 3 years, we've helped about 545 veterans.
That is wonderful.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
And basically, with that, we are all volunteer nonprofit, so we don't have any paid staff, and we basically do it with the passion and drive and all volunteers that come in, and we've utilized the Avid Kids. One of the things though that we found out early on was that a lot of people didn't know, even veterans when they come out, where to start. And so our organization is geared to being a organization that will go ahead and help veterans to get into and connect them to anything that they need to, basically as a comprehensive resource center. Right. But the Veterans the Health and Wellness Community Resource Fair coming up on March the 19th is at the Fontana Senior Center at 16710 Ceres Avenue. It's basically off of Sierra and Ceres, real close to the downtown. We expect to have about 30 to 40 partners and vendors there, and
we will definitely be there.
Yeah,
right?
we're going to we're coming out. We're going to support you guys totally.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I love this partnership because a lot of it is getting the word out to the community.
Right.
So we, I'm a connector. I like to go ahead and try to find people and let them know and find what we can do in common. The schools are a big part of that too, because we see partnerships. Yeah.
Is actually Fontana is one of those communities that they're really engaged and they're really involved. I've gone to speak to the parents there.
I'm glad you spoke about that, because I was listening to you talk, and that's the whole thing with veterans, or no matter what part of the community you're looking at. Early on, you have to identify areas that are going to make you successful, and I think we have a program called Reboot, Rebuild, Reconnect that we're just starting, a small grant that we got, but I basically formulated utilizing the Myers-Briggs kind of test on identifying people's skill sets, so when they get out of the military, they can basically kind of goal set. They have about 5 to 7 core areas of everybody's lives. When you get out of the military, you have some training as well. But a lot of that might not equate well to the employment sector, because the biggest portion of the military is infantry. And so you need to have things that you're working on. Now, you do have benefits for the veterans who've been out, just getting out. But after about 10 years, you use up all your educational benefits. So you have to go ahead and, when we deal with a lot of the challenged veterans who have been out for a while, especially a lot of the Vietnam veterans who fell through the cracks because they didn't have the benefit of all the things that are going on now. Right. And so, but because of them, the current veterans are actually benefiting for the programs. That
tell me something, Danny. What is the main thing that the veterans, once they come out here, that you guys will be offering to them, so that they know exactly what they're expecting?
We've had several already, so this isn't the first one. We've had 3, and so basically we have things from we have all the VA, the county. City nonprofits come through, medical facilities, so we try to make it wide open. We have some for employment, we have some that are helping people to get housed, we have some for financials, because all these things lead to healthier lives. Right. So you can tie in pretty much not just for medical, but for other things as well. So we tend to look at the whole picture, trying to connect, and so we intend to have 30 to 40 of diverse groups of people that are connecting, and let people know how to connect to them.
Can you give the community again your website and your phone number so they can reach you?
Sure. Our nonprofit is called Veterans Partner with Communities. We have 2 places you can go. You can go to our Facebook page. It's Veterans, the number 4 Communities on our Facebook page, or the veteransforcommunities.org. And either one of those will get you to our site. I think you have the web. You have the.
Yes, I do, and you guys can find the information and the flyer. We'll be sharing it at our website, our Facebook page, Inside Politics, or my page, or Danny's or Nancy's. So you'll find it, and you guys will see you in Fontana on March
the 19th.
Sports Radio Update starts now.
Happy trails to the sheriff. I'm Sam Farber. Barring an audible at the line, Peyton Manning will be calling it a career at 1 p.m. Eastern on Monday. Press conference scheduled for Broncos team headquarters. Manning won 2 Super Bowls, the second obviously in Super Bowl 50 with the Broncos, and 5 MVP awards over the course of his career. In the NBA today,
Huertas down the middle. Alley-oop to Diaz! Slam dunk! And the party is on!